Well, first I want to thank you guys for having me here to represent CRAM, and thank you for your many, many years of support. CY was talking to me last week as we prepared. He is visiting a church in Georgia. We have several people visiting camps this summer. And so as we prayed and prepared for our trips and different things like that, he let me know. He said, yes, I know that church. They've supported us many years. So I just want to start out with thanking you for that. And with that, I just want to go ahead and I know some of us might know CRAM for a long time, and some of us might just know CRAM a little bit. So I just wanted to go ahead and provide a little bit of a background of, how CRAM started and what we've done and what we're still doing over the years. Again, I'm the Director of Communications at CRAM, and so a lot of what I do is what you'll see if you get our emails or our mailings. I help put that together, and then I also help with visiting churches and giving updates and speaking to mission boards and different things like that, just so everyone can continue to know what we're doing and what your generous donations are going towards. If we can go ahead and go on to the next slide, please. So CRAM was started by CY and Patricia Kim. Some of you may have met them before. CY and Patricia actually went to Johnson University, and that's where they met. And that's where CY started putting together his passion of wanting to go and help the people of Asia. So for a long time, they were missionaries, just the two of them, and then eventually their family. And then eventually they created the nonprofit that we now know today as Christ Reaching Asia Mission Worldwide, or CRAM. We have served in many countries: China, North and South Korea, Cambodia, Laos, and the Philippines. And some of that work continues, and some of it has been either taken over by someone local, which is great, because that's one of our goals, is to build new leaders, so they can serve the people they know best. And so some of those have been taken over, and we've been able to let those go. And then there have been some other things, which I'll talk about a little later, in China, where we've had to let those go or put those on hold too. Our mission is to bring the love of Jesus Christ to the people of Asia. By meeting their physical needs, we hope to be able to also meet their spiritual needs. And that's something important for us to remember, again, with the theme of seeking the lost. A lot of times, we can't get deep and spiritual with people if we're not first coming to them at a basic level and getting to know them. And a lot of times, those who are lost, helping them and saying, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And showing them God's love through what we do for them and how we treat them and other people. So that's our mission statement and how we try to do things in each different country that we serve. If we can go on to the next slide. So in China, we have a foreign language school and a Hope Farm, and we also do leadership training. So in the past, we've also had a school for the disabled, a bakery, and we also did a ranch with horses and a hippotherapy program. Those are on hold. I say that they're terminated, but we're hoping to be able to do something new with some of the buildings that we have there that we're housing some of those projects. Not to go into too much detail, but the Chinese government is very strict and can kind of take over whatever they want or rezone things. And so as we've seen that, we've had to come up with some more creative ways to continue to serve the people of China. And so some of those projects are still there. And as we are hopefully able to travel again, we are wanting to continue to send people there as well. On the next slide, this is just a picture of the foreign language school. Again, it's just amazing and very blessed, the buildings and facilities that CRAM has been able to put in China, and we're able to run many things out of this building. But one of those things is language and education. We do a little bit of vocational training and some missionary training as well. And they also do tutoring there on the weekends. And this is, again, in Hunchun, China, which is down near where North Korea and China meet each other. On the next slide, we have Hope Farm, which is where we raise crops and livestock. And we continue to raise funds. Before, a lot of that went to North Korea to help with aiding them in food. Right now, we can't get into North Korea like that by just taking it directly there. So we work with local farmers and provide livestock like cows or even crops and different things like that, or local communities that are struggling. We provide food for them as well. And again, just a chance for us to do something for those communities without them paying us back. And that's a way for them to say, like, why are you doing this? And that gives us a chance to be able to share with them. Sorry. On the next slide, North Korea. Again, CY and Patricia did a lot of work and were able to build several facilities in North Korea, which is just amazing. A lot of the work is focused on children, a few children homes, on orphanages, and then we also have some medical clinics there as well. On the next slide, you can see this is one of our children's homes. It's an orphanage, and unfortunately right now we are not able to send our people from the States over to North Korea, which would usually be CY and Patricia. But we do have some connections in China, and some connections of North Korean people that we know who we're able to get some updates from. But even if we, over the past many years, even before we weren't allowed to travel there from the States, we haven't been able to take pictures there. That is something that they have stopped letting us do. So the pictures are a little dated, and so we do what we can to try to cycle through and find ones that we haven't used yet. So that's why you might not see a lot of updates, media-wise on North Korea. But yes, this is one of our homes where it's an orphanage for some of the younger children. On the next slide is a picture of one of the clinics we have there. We've helped obviously build those, staff them. CY's son is a doctor, and he has been over to North Korea and actually performed heart surgeries for several of the government officials there as well. So a lot of work that we've done in the past, and again, we're having to be more creative about what we're doing these days, but through several of our connections, we are able to still continue to get food in, but as you're thinking about it, just keep that in your prayers as North Korea, again, they have been shut out since last year at the beginning of the pandemic. And they haven't been receiving the regular aid from the UN, from China, etc. And so please keep that in your prayers. Those people, we know just as much as they will let us know through the news. And I don't have to tell you that that's just a small picture of what's going on. So that's a big thing that's weighing on our hearts at CRAM. And so again, just keep North Korea and those people in your prayers. Our next country is Cambodia, where we have helped partner with some local people there, establishing a Christian school, and also we have a ministry for those with leprosy, and have built a village where they can stay, they get medical treatment as they need, and there's also a church there for them as well. On the next slide, you can see this is the school. We have continued to fund that school over the years since it's been built, help put in some facilities, different things that they need there, and continue to help support them, not only as they provide education, but also continue to spread the gospel to the young children there. The next photo is one of the buildings of the Village of Hope, which is where we have the leper colony or community. there's also, like I said, medical clinics and a church there too. And so we are hoping to be able to go back there so we can provide some more updates and maybe find some new ways we can continue to help serve those people in Cambodia. Lastly, the Philippines is what our big focus has been the last couple of years, just because, one, they're a great country to work in because it's a free nation where they're not, Christianity is okay. Now, a large part of the population is Catholic, and so we have started to plant Christian churches there. Our biggest programs, like I said, are church planting and child sponsorship. And if you've gotten some of our news last year and this year, we also started a big project called Sharon House, which is our teen crisis center. And the goal of that project is to bring girls who are at high risk for exploitation, like human trafficking, teen pregnancies, different things like that. So thankfully, we have been able to get that building built. Girls have been moved in, and we are hoping and praying for what the next steps are and how we can continue to expand that project just to continue to protect that community in Bacoor, Philippines. We're also trying to set up some self-supporting projects. So we want to make sure that we're not just continuing just to give food, just give food, give food. We want to help set them up and kind of break that cycle. So part of that is through the child sponsorship. If you sponsor a child, you're helping put them through school instead, because sometimes they just can't afford to go to school. If you have to choose between food and school, a lot of times you're probably going to choose food. And so by being able to send them to school, that gives them just another step up to be able to find a job later on and hopefully move out of that community of where they're at. We set up some convenience stores, food carts, and we've also had several churches help support us in sending money to provide chickens to families. So they get 2 chickens and feed to help raise them, and then provide eggs and different things like that. And if necessary, they can eat the chickens later on as well. So that's something we're continuing to work on. Many churches and individuals have continued to support that chicken project, as it's a great way to, again, give that to the family, give them something that they can do themselves and help support themselves. Here on the next slide, you'll see just a rough map of the churches that we have planted. And I believe I just got an update from our missionary Song Ho Kim in the Philippines that they just finished another physical building of a church in the Philippines. So right now there's 10 here, but I think we might have 11 or 12 now since I last put this map together. And we have over 2,000 people attending those churches. And that continues to go up every week, it seems. And so a large amount of our churches are in the Bacoor area, where you see the first 5 on the top left. Those are all in the same area. That's the main area where we serve those people. And those are the ones who are living on the houses that go out over the water. There are hundreds of people living over there who have been pushed out, not only from Manila, from Bacoor, and pushed so far out due to the development of the country and that city that they are literally living over the water. On the next slide, like I mentioned before, our Boat Kids Club program, that's our child sponsorship program. $30 a month, provides school, clothing, school supplies, and food for that child, and usually for their family as well. Sharon House, which I already touched on the next slide, just a picture of some of the girls living there. And then just a couple pictures of some of the projects that are self-supporting with the chickens, food carts, and convenience stores. This next thing is a video, and again, keeping in mind seeking the lost. This is a mother who her child was sponsored through our BKC program, our Boat Kids Club program. And so that is just this is just a story from her. And as we move in, as I go ahead and speak more on seeking the lost, I want to open up with this video from her.
Pinakamababa, 200, tapos 300, gano'n. My name is Mylene Bistal. Nung 1998, ganun lang, tatahi. Yung sa naman, yung kita ko naman, pinagsikapan ko rin na kakain kami ng maayos. Okay lang, pero yung talagang wala kaming natabi, ganito, ganyan. Kasi kulang pa sa yung pag-aaral ko ng mga anak ko, lalo pa yung mga high school ko, grade 11. Tapos ito, nalaglag sa dagat. 7 years. Na rin yan, wala nang buhay. Naligtas naman po. Kaya sabi ko, wala talagang imposible. Pag manalig lang. Malaki po kasi yung anak ko, tapang nag-aayon na sa pag-aaral, tapos tuloy-tuloy na yung hindi na siya nag-absent. Pero pinagsikapan ko rin na yung hindi sila mag-absent kasi ayaw kong ganun nga mag-absent. Lalo ngayon nga, 3 high school ko. Talagang na-sponsor na siya, tuloy-tuloy na yung pag-Bible ko, nag-aati na rin ako ng simba. Parang ayaw ko nang excited na nga ako pag Sabado. Tapos malaki rin na katulong kasi marami kaming natutunan sa pagsimba. Parang may dumadating sa amin ng blessings, ganun. Hindi namin inaasahan na may darating pala. Nakakaraos din sa awa ng Diyos. Kahit mahirap, tiis, tiyaga.
So I really like that video and that story. And that story, with every child that's sponsored, we see over and over again. And by us going and through you guys, many of our sponsors, by doing that, again, you're spreading the kingdom, of heaven and bringing more people in. So again, seeking the lost. So the kingdom of heaven is designed to grow, and the only way that can happen is by us who are in it continue to reach out to more people. In Matthew 5:14 and 16, Jesus says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And so when I watch that video and I see her as she tells her story, and then seeing her as she's in church and just how bright she is, and by us being able to help support her and her family, she came to the church, and then she continues to shine her light that was shared with her through the sponsorship to the other people in the community, and that's how we continue to build. And so we are the light of the world, and we have to continue to share that with other people. And as we do, they continue to share that, and it keeps growing and growing. And we just have to remember, sometimes it's, very easy to think like, oh, I sponsor this child, and, I do this, or I help support this, or I went on a mission trip and did this. But remembering that we want that to go to God. Because we don't have that light without him. He's given that to us. And it's important that, like we're saying, you don't hide your light. If you hide it in like a bowl or something like that, it will go out. So you need to continue to shine it so other people can see it, and you can continue to share it, and they can share it as well. In Matthew 18:10-14. See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. What do you think? If a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away, will he not leave the 99 on the hill and go look for the one that wandered off? And if he finds it, truly I tell you, he is happier about the one sheep than about the 99 that did not wander off. In the same way, your Father in heaven is not willing that any of these little ones should perish. And so with that, it's just, again, a reminder of, as we look at what Jesus did while he was here on the earth, he didn't sit around with all the people who, already knew God and were already following him. He went out and he went to go seek the lost. And that's what I think we need a reminder of sometimes is, and I'm very guilty of it too, is that church doesn't just happen here on Sundays, and that we don't just support missionaries, that we're all missionaries in a way. That doesn't mean we're all going out to China or the Philippines, but that we need to do it here, which is where we're best equipped to do it, is in our own communities, where we understand the people, we understand the culture. And so as we do that, it's just a reminder, we're always, as we shine our light, that always gives us the opportunity. People see that, and through our works and our actions, we'll say, people will notice, why are you doing this? Why are you helping volunteer? What is it getting for you? How does this benefit you? And sometimes it doesn't, and the goal is to serve others. And by them seeing that, we shine our light, and it's a way for us to find those lost people, and for us to share that light with them and bring them into the light with us. And so when I think about it, a lot of people say, oh, you're a missionary, which I'm not the one out in the field. Again, usually I'm the one behind the computer just typing things up. And so for me, it's important, in that I find places to serve my community where I'm at as well. And you do that through what you're good at, what you're passionate about. If you find yourself serving somewhere and you're like, it becomes a task and you don't want to do it and you don't like it, you're probably not serving in the right way. Think about, what are the things you're passionate about? What is it that you like to do? What are you good at? If you're not sure, ask somebody, what do you think is a good way for me to serve other people? Because a lot of times people can see what you're good at and say, well, you'll be great with this. Some of us are good at, working with a lot of people at one time. Others, one-on-one. But it's important that, again, not just those missionaries that are out in Asia or Africa, wherever it may be, they're out seeking the lost there because, that's their calling and what they're good at. But a reminder that we all need to continue to do that, whether we're here in Kingston or whether we're over in China or the Philippines. So that's my message today. I hope you guys had a good update on what we're doing. And if you will, I will close us in prayer here. Dear God, thank you for the opportunity for us all to come worship you this morning. We are very grateful for another day, another week, that we can continue to serve you. Please help us to remember what our mission is, and that we are all here to seek the lost, and help us find our best way for us to each serve you individually so that we can continue to bring people into the light. Again, thank you again for this day, and we ask again for your blessings on us throughout this week. In Jesus' name, amen.